Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Closing Comments here on October 15th. Let's jump right into our charts and see what happened in the markets today. Did have a fairly quiet day across the cattle market as prices balanced out near these all-time highs. Did see this December live contract putting in a nice little inside day here as the bulls continue to consolidate. Looking like they're picking up some good buyer support down here as this market did pull back inside that prior day's range, showing good support off of Monday's high down there near that 245 mark. If we look here on our intraday charts, we see this market pulling back down to these lows a couple times today, but really showing good pushback by the buyers down here and finishing this trading session today up here near these all-time highs. At the moment, we do have a lot of equal highs coming in here, just shy of that 247 line. Also, a pretty heavy concentration of volume coming in here between 46 and 47. Looking like the bulls are looking to take another leg out of here. If we do get some early bids above 247 tomorrow, look for this thing to get marked up into the 250s fairly quickly. Should be pretty smooth sailing into new all-time highs here for the bulls. Should see that upside continue here and finish the week on a high note. With this inside day, however, if we do start to see any offers coming in below today's low at 245.15, we could see just a brief little pullback. However, nothing major expected. We should see this market kind of pull back down here towards this 243 area and try and pick up some leftover buyers here at this bull pivot, as well as this prior swing high. Should be a good spot for support if we do get any sort of offers coming in below today's low. However, with this finish today, we should see the bulls take this momentum that we saw at the close here into tomorrow's session, get a nice strong push above 247 and take this thing up into the 250s. So look for the bulls to keep on rolling. Next up, our November feeders, also showing a nice inside day. Price finding good support at Monday's high as well, also inside that prior day's range. If we look here, this market not finishing back up near those all-time highs quite as much, but good support here all day long as the bulls continue to show good buying pressure here. At the moment, if we same story as those feeder or those December fats, any offers coming in below today's low at 378, we could see a little pullback down here into Monday's range. Should see good support down here in the 370s. However, the bulls really seem to be comfortable up here in the 380s at the moment. Good support down here, pushing this market off of those lows here at into the close today. Nice little consolidation and looking like this market could see some more strength and more upside here throughout the rest of the week. Any bids above today's high there at 382 should get this market rolling back into those all-time highs and get those feeders marching back up there towards $4. December corn futures with some nice upside here today. However, this has been a pretty sticky and quiet market. Not really expecting any big directional moves from here. This market just pulling back up here and getting back inside this 415 to 430 range. At the moment, not expecting a whole lot of directional moves. Look for this chop that we saw this prior week. Look for that to continue down here as we're trading back near these moving averages. Not expecting a whole lot of upside here from the bulls as we do have this market just getting a slow bleed underway and having a little bit of downside pressure holding this thing. Look for continued choppy action down here, but resistance should continue to hold. Bears are going to try and push this thing back down here towards 415 and 412. But at the moment, as long as we're trading inside this range, not a whole lot of directional moves expected. Look for some choppy action to stick around here in this corn market. Next up, crude oil prices continuing to just balance out down here in the high 50s. Following Friday's big breakdown, this market has just kind of been chopping up down here between 60 and 58 bucks. Not a whole lot of directional momentum here at the moment. The Bears still definitely have the wind at their back. However, any more downside just should come as a nice slow bleed. Most of this big volatility we saw on this big red day was related to that tariff announcement. However, with how the market's been acting this week, looking like this thing has just been pretty comfortable down here in the high 50s. We should see the Bears continue to just have a nice slow drift lower, and these oil prices that keep pushing down here into the mid 50s. We should be trying to come back down here and target this 55 level that we saw back here in April. That should be the next stop here for the bulls or the Bears, but at the moment, it doesn't look like we're going to get there very fast. Should just be a nice slow bleed here as oil prices have more downside ahead of them. Equity markets seeing a nice upside overnight. However, the day session really selling off today. We did see a nice push up here into the 67.60 level today. However, most of that day session was spent giving all that back, coming back down here into that prior day's range, testing these prior day's ranges. At the moment, we did see good pushback here off of that 66.50 level and a fairly quiet close down here. around this key level here at 65.15 to 65.20. This has been a fairly sticky spot over the course of this week. Monday and Tuesday's highs both coming in here between the 67.10 and 67.20 area. So looking for this market just to come back down here. Seeing a pretty big concentration of volume built up here. Wide ranges as this market is still digesting this big breakdown we saw here on Friday. At the moment, we are trading back here above the 20-day average, however, and we've seen good buyer support down here at this 50 following that big breakdown. At the moment, it doesn't look like the tariff talk is much of a concern, we should see more upside here continue back towards these all-time highs. We still want to be cautious though of any tape bombs or any Trump tweets, so just be cautious of that as we could see more volatility if that were to arise again. However, good support down here. We should see this market continue to coast back into these all-time highs as the stock market remains very strong and a very healthy, favorable environment. So look for the upside to continue. That's all we got for this evening. We'll catch you guys tomorrow night.